I think it's like, it never go wrong, you know? Free Palestine, all the fucking other
So, Hazan, we're at the Noise Annoys festival with a band whose name means syphilis. Yes. How did that come about?
So our bass player Mikkel, he I just remember the story today. He had a birthday, which is his birthday is in the middle of January. No one could hang out with him on his birthday. Absolutely no one. When he was living in Copenhagen, we were living together. And so
I think the three of us were
we were living together.
Yeah.
And
you were in Brazil, I was in Indonesia at that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he decided to go to the Medical Historical Museum. And he saw all these taxidermies of syphilis babies.
Oh God.
Which is pretty brutal, like two-headed fetuses and children, and he thought then it was a good name for a punk band because it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, and I think it was like during that time also that we created a band when the three of us were living together in Copenhagen, and when you and me were away, we were away for like 1 month each, almost. Exactly. And he was really bored, and so I think he made a lot of riffs, and that was also like the startup for the band. Yeah.
So he was totally inspired by the syphilis babies.
Yes.
Exactly. And it also turned out, then we've been digging some more history on syphilis, and most of the nobles in period a couple of hundreds ago, almost all the nobles had syphilis. It was inherited, and they lived a pretty decadent lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so apparently the thing about saying cheers with your finger out is because syphilis makes your the joints stale. So if you have syphilis, you can't bend it. Yeah. So the royal cheers turned into.
Yeah, but it came from syphilis. Yes. We thought that was funny. Yeah.
I've heard that just recently that this meant you had syphilis. Yeah. It was like, oh gosh. And people often do that, thinking they're being so posh, you know.
Yeah.
Have my drink, stick it. No, that means I have a venereal disease. Yes. Yeah. So, beyond diseases, you guys don't have all that much out yet. Yet, I think there's probably a lot more in there. What's happening with that?
I can't remember. I think we released one demo tape.
Yeah.
Then we released a split tape with our friends from Colombia, Muro.
Yeah.
A brilliant band and very lovely people. Which that split tape, our side was released as a 7-inch on our friend's record label, Adult Crash. And then we made a 12-inch.
No, before that we also released a tape in Indonesia or Malaysia.
Indonesia.
Yeah,
I think.
in Indonesia. But that was also the 7-inch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was released over there, and then we did the 12, like the LP, like the full-length album, and that was just when the pandemic started.
Exactly.
So, same as for a lot of bands, it was like, we couldn't really go touring at that time, releasing the record.
It was also a period of having gone from living together in Copenhagen, the three of us, and then Felix in Malmö. Mikkel and Johanna moved to Sweden also, so we were, and I kept living in Copenhagen. So with the pandemic and everything, it was a bit more.
So you guys are still spread about between Denmark and Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah.
We call it Øresund, which is the name of the water that goes through.
Yes. How does that work, though? Do you find that it's a real problem, or because they are so close together, that it's no big deal to, for example, get down from Malmö into Copenhagen?
I think it's really easy. But also, like, since we got older, we've been playing in punk bands for a lot of years. We all just do normal life, and then when we want to meet up and hang out, we just make it happen. I mean, Marcus work as a sound engineer in Copenhagen, and you work a lot of nights and evenings and weekends. Felix work as a painter. Me and Mickey live in the countryside, actually 45 minutes north of Malmö. So we actually have like more distance. But I think with this band, like, since we're so good friends, it's more
It's
like
family.
more like a family friend band, and we just love to hang out together. So we have such a good time every time we meet up. So when we decide to have like a rehearse weekend, or it's always just so much fun, and that we love to do what we do. So we don't need to, not anymore, we don't need to rehearse every week or all of this stuff.
Exactly.
And it probably doesn't feel like a chore because you are all such good friends.
It's a family holiday. But,
Yeah.
But also we haven't been active lately. The last time we played was almost 2 years ago, or 1 year and 9 months.
Yeah.
I guess that we just had 2 shows that autumn, sort of summer and autumn.
Yeah, we played in Puntala Fest in
Finland.
Finland, and we did a show in Malmö. Yeah.
And before that, we didn't play for almost 2 years as well.
No, but that was because it was the
The
pandemic.
pandemic,
Yeah, so it was like, pause.
But it's good fun. So in the meantime, there was released a split, 4-way split LP, which we recorded during the pandemic with some good friends' bands, and so now it's fun because it was out last year, but we haven't been out playing. But and we have all these nice new songs, and
Yeah, it's great.
I'm getting from coming here. It's really lovely. It's a very nice festival. People are super welcoming and nice, and it feels like a real community. And being here with the others makes me feel like we should do it more.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think we get a lot of excitement. Yeah.
But all of us are also trying to take it easy in our lives, as we don't get younger. So it will be what it will be, I guess.
And what made you decide to come to the Noise Annoys festival here in the UK, if you haven't played for so long?
We were invited by an old friend, Bri, to play. I think he's been trying to get us over here for quite some while.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've been invited to come to England for a lot of years, but we couldn't really make it happen. Everybody have different projects, new bands, like doing other stuff in life. So, but now at this point we could make it happen. So I think we were, like, this was decided early last year, or like summertime.
It was an autumn.
Yeah.
Autumn last year.
So, and then it was just super excited to be like, okay, now we're gonna do this festival. So we also did the pre-show in Leeds, and then we also did another show in Malmö on Wednesday this week, together with Attack Zero, with
from Colombia.
Yeah, Colombia, friends from Colombia, super good band. It was so good.
So nice.
And now we also like, I mean, we get requests of playing, but yeah, it's not always
possible.
Yeah,
like
possible
logistically or
yeah.
physically. But I think the reason why I was also maybe going a bit more, we should do this, is Johanna has been, you've been really, how to say, peppered. You've been really excited about going to Sheffield.
Yeah.
Because Johanna played here 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago, but I had a great time. I loved to play both in Leeds and Sheffield at that time, and I really wanted to go back. And since both Bry and also like Nicky Ratt has wanted us to come to London for a long time, so like we really wanted to go to England at some time. So this was just the perfect possibility, because it worked for all of us finally.
Yes, the perfect chance. And I'm wondering, how do people find out about you? You don't have a big social media presence. It is word of mouth, more or less, and Bandcamp. But how do you find people are finding out about you?
I think the punk community has its old channels of trade taping or playing something for someone, or you trade a 7-inch or an LP, or someone says, have you heard this band? And I like that we don't have a social media presence. I think, even though I use them, I think it's a plague. And also, punk should never get commercial. It should never be. It should be for the masses. It should be for the people. But it shouldn't be It shouldn't be mainstream.
Yeah.
And a good way to keep it out of that is to keep it hidden. Yeah. And it's not to sound elitist, but I think that everything that that capitalism finds, and we can exploit this, will be ruined, will be spoiled. And so it's a way of keeping your culture and your community away from the dirty hands of big business.
So it's been an active choice to not have social media.
So if you want to find them, go to Bandcamp, because that's how I found them.
Email. Or Bandcamp, yes. Yeah.
We don't have that many releases left, but I guess Adult Crash Records still have the 4-way split LP with 3 other. I have to say 3 other really good bands, even though I'm also in another of them, but at least like 2 really good bands and my other band. Yeah. And in general, he puts out a lot of really good records, so that's recommendable. We'll see what the future brings.
That sounds very much of an enigma as to what might just happen with the band.
That's because we don't know.
I think the main thing with ZYFILIS is that we always said that this band is gonna be fun. So we just want to play when all of us feel good, and that we want to do it because it's fun, because we really like each other so much and we really love to hang out so much. So sometimes we have to say no, and sometimes we're not super active, but we are so happy that we are still invited to things, and every time we play together, I mean, it's fun. And that's not always when you play in bands. It's not always the main thing that you're having fun. But for us with ZYFILIS, that's the main thing, that we want to take care of each other and we want to have a good time together.
Exactly, and the thing about being in DIY punk is that it's so lovely. It's a family, it's a community that's spread over the whole world, and there's a lot of friends and comrades that you see only at these occasions. And I think it's beautiful how it's been, it's been going since punk first came. It's still going, it's under the radar most of the time. It's perfect, it's thriving. There are always kids coming, like younger people, doing new bands, like Dishuman that also play here.
The one from Portugal. My gosh, they were so young. They were great, but they were so young.
Good and so good people. We were playing with them in Leeds, and we now stay in the same place here in Sheffield. So we've been hanging out like the whole weekend, and they are fantastic. Super good recommendation. Super classic raw punk Discharge style, and it's just super fucking good. Yeah.
I saw them and I saw how young they were, and I'm like, I wonder what they're going to come out with. And then it was just this wall of sound. I'm like, oh my, this is good.
Yeah. It's great. So I mean, just also the possibility to go to a festival like this and see so many good bands that is in this festival. I'm so excited about to see all the bands, and to meet these people that we didn't know, this human. You knew them a little bit before you met one of them, but I mean, it was.
I met one of them once, but
just get like new friends and just get this inspiration and the
like
DIY community.
That it exists outside of society, and you know, standing up for against totalitarianism and against individualism, and you know, this whole festival, the benefit goes to Medical Aid Palestine, which is extremely important at this time. You know, that the cause is a big part of the community, and you know, apolitic bands don't really exist in this way, or like the ones that are nicest and the people are most involved, they are always doing, you know, both the political side and the community side, and that's how life should be, I think.
I agree. And you often hear, especially older punks, saying politics don't belong in punk. That's what punk has always been.
If there's no politics, there's no punk.
No, that's what we would say. Yeah.
I agree. I couldn't believe that, because I'm thinking even like the Sex Pistols were pissed about politics. You know.
And then you can choose your own way how to express it and how to do it. But I mean, you can't ignore and say like that it's not about that. Yeah.
That it doesn't belong, because to me that's what feeds punk, is the anger at what you see as injustice in the world. So. And
the love of freedom and equality, and a world where everyone can be without chains.
And I suppose, thinking about that and thinking about the part of Sweden that some of you live in, it's turning into the right-wing area of Sweden. How do you combat with that? Because I always thought of Sweden as being a very center-left, thinking about everybody, the socialist atmosphere. How is that working into it? And I'm sure that's influencing what you're doing and writing about as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's exactly how you say, and I think most of the people in the world have a picture of Sweden as a good society, or more like left-wing society with good standards. But it's been really changing the last, I would say, 20 years, but extremely much last 5 years. And right now we have a racist party sitting in the government, and they are they are dealing with everything, and they are putting the rules for how the government make their choices. And I would say, like, living in the south of Sweden, it's like I was staying in Malmö for a lot of years, and Malmö is a really incredible city, and there's a lot of different people living there, and there's a lot of possibility to be like in different ways. But since some years back, I live in the countryside outside Malmö, and this part is exactly what you say. It's the part that has been ruled by racist parties for a lot of years before the whole government was ruled by it, and you can really see the influences. I think it's really important to just continue what we are doing. I think for me, what I learned to also move to the countryside and not be only in my punk community in the city where I know I'm safe. I think I learned that I also have to be I wouldn't say more nice, or like more, I wouldn't say more open, but I have to deal with people that I don't agree with, but that is also like a political choice to show something different. Like we have this place that we are here now in Sheffield, and we have Ungdomshuset in Copenhagen. We have like classic punk places that we grew up to, but in a small community or like in a village in the countryside, you have nothing, and then you get super influenced by what is just there in front of you. So we try to do something different. We try to have a community there that is both super strong politically and take
a stance.
But also to be a bit open and have like markets and cinema, and just to show and be inviting to the community. And that's a new thing, like from being a punk in an activist movement in a city and move out, and you have to take a decision that, yeah, maybe I have to be more open and also talk to people that I don't really like, but it's very important for young people in these communities to see that there's other possibilities.
Yes. That's how you can change minds, especially if they're younger, they start hearing different things than what they're told from the politics of the area. Exactly. Oh, maybe it doesn't have to be this way. Yeah. And they start thinking on their own and exploring further things. So that's a great thing you're doing.
I think it's important. I think, like, I fall back to that all the time, that when it's been these really, really hard months, like the last 6 months with the genocide in Palestine and everything before that, it's like this feeling of like, I don't know what to do, I don't know if I can affect anything, but I'm trying to, like, okay, but if I am myself, if I take this discussion in like the small store that I go to, I work as an art teacher, when I talk to the kids I teach art to, if I just like, you know, like the small things is actually important in this society. It's not only to be in the barricade, which I think is super fucking important also, but there's different ways, so it's...
Everything counts.
Yes. So the situation in Sweden, for me, since I don't live in the city anymore, it's a totally different situation of how to deal with this kind of politics. And it's influencing a lot, and it's making it really, really, really hard for everyone in Sweden right now. It's really hard.
I think it's a worldwide problem these days.
And maybe Sweden becomes an example, since how you explained it, because it's been an example of something different before, and now Sweden becomes an example of like how bad it could be in both ways. In Nazi right-wing communities, they put up like you know, like all this. So yeah.
Looking for a better world, we can show the way. That's the way I think. Mm-hmm. You know, we may only do it one person at a time, but we can have an impact and an influence. And your music goes a way to do that too, because you reach people you don't even know you've reached, and they've read the lyrics or just thought about things, and it's like, oh, maybe, and starts to change their minds. So that also is a public service that you're doing. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see you guys. I discovered you during the lockdown over COVID. I was asked to start going back to a radio station I did in America years ago when I was young. And they were shut down from lockdown. And they said, okay, former members, we're going to ask some of you to come back and record shows for us. Well, I'm still doing it now, but even all these years later, but you guys were one of the first ones. I'm like, oh, wow, I just found this, and this is so good. So you've been played all over America, well, in one city in America.
It's really fun to hear. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for saying it.
Well, thank you for producing, you guys.
Yeah.
And I simply want to say, tack så mycket. And I can't wait to see you. It's been a long time I've been waiting, so this is going to be good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.